In the world of startups, speed is often celebrated as the ultimate virtue. Grow fast, break things, capture markets, and worry about the consequences later. But history has shown us that this mindset can be deeply flawed. Growth without ethics isn't just short sighted, it's dangerous. It erodes trust, damages reputations, attracts regulatory scrutiny, and can even destroy companies that otherwise had world changing potential. Ethical startups, on the other hand, prove that it's possible to grow quickly while also doing good. Ethics is not a drag on growth, it's a multiplier. When trust is built into your DNA, you don't just capture customers, you keep them. You don't just attract investors, you attract patient capital that believes in your mission. Doing good while growing fast is not a contradiction. It's the formula for building companies that last. There are four major reasons why ethics matter deeply for startups. The first is the pressure point. Fast growth often pushes founders to cut corners, whether in product quality, labor practices, or compliance. These shortcuts may save time today, but they compromise sustainability tomorrow. The second is trust building. Trust is the ultimate currency of business. Ethical choices around transparency, data privacy, or fair treatment create lasting trust with users, investors, and regulators. Lose that trust, and no amount of growth can save you. The third is competitive moat. In crowded markets, reputation becomes a differentiator. Companies known for ethics enjoy advantages in customer loyalty, talent acquisition, and even regulatory goodwill. A strong ethical reputation is a long term moat competitors cannot easily replicate. The fourth is sustainable profit. Doing good aligns with profitability when customers, employees, and investors increasingly prioritize values. Conscious consumers seek ethical brands, and ESG focused investors allocate capital to companies that combine impact with financial return. Ethics are not just about being good, they are about being strategic. In the modern startup ecosystem, ethics and growth are inseparable. Startups face a unique set of ethical challenges, and ignoring them can prove costly. The first is data privacy. In an age of surveillance capitalism, respecting user information is not optional. Transparent data collection practices and strong security protocols are essential. Misuse of data can lead to catastrophic trust erosion, as countless social media and fintech scandals have shown. The second is labor practices. Gig workers, contractors, and junior employees often form the backbone of startups. Fair wages, benefits, and equitable treatment are moral imperatives, but also practical necessities. Exploitation may lower costs temporarily, but damages brand reputation and triggers regulatory backlash. The third is environmental impact. Startups may dismiss sustainability as an issue for larger companies, but energy consumption, waste, and supply chain ethics matter at every stage. Customers and investors increasingly hold even early stage companies accountable for their environmental footprint. The fourth is transparency. Startups often face setbacks, pivots, or crises. Honest communication with employees, investors, and customers builds resilience. Concealing or misrepresenting challenges might delay consequences, but eventually magnifies them. Each of these areas, privacy, labor, environment, and transparency, represents both a risk and an opportunity. Address them ethically, and they become pillars of trust. Ignore them, and they become accelerants for collapse. Ethics must be embedded in culture, not bolted on later. Four practices are especially powerful. The first is to define values early. Culture is shaped in the first 10 hires. Embedding ethical principles into hiring, onboarding, and operations ensures they scale with the company. The second is to create feedback loops. Encourage whistleblowing, anonymous feedback, and open dialogue. Ethical concerns must surface quickly before they fester into scandals. The third is to align incentives. Compensation and performance metrics should never reward unethical behavior. If rapid growth is incentivized at all costs, quarter cutting will follow. Tie metrics to sustainable growth and ethical outcomes. The fourth is to lead by example. Culture is not defined by slogans, but by leadership behavior. If leaders demonstrate ethical decision making consistently, both in small, daily choices and major strategic calls, the entire team follows suit. Culture is not what you write on the wall, it's what leaders do when nobody's watching. Building ethical culture means living your values daily. Ethics in startups are not just about avoiding harm, they're about actively designing growth strategies that do good. The first is mission driven models. Tie your profit engine directly to solving meaningful problems. When profit and impact are aligned, growth naturally creates value for society as well as shareholders. The second is inclusive growth. Ensure your product is accessible across demographics. Avoid building digital divides that exclude underserved populations. Inclusivity expands markets and strengthens loyalty. The third is responsible scaling. Expansion should never rely on exploitative labor or unsustainable practices. Responsible scaling ensures you don't win the short term battle while losing the long term war. The fourth is regulatory partnership. Many startups treat regulators as enemies to outmaneuver. A better strategy is proactive partnership. Engage early, collaborate on policy, and shape regulations that benefit both innovation and society. Ethical growth strategies prove that doing good is not at odds with speed, it enhances it. Ethical companies grow fast because people trust them to grow right. Let's look at real world cases where ethics determined outcomes. Patagonia built a billion-dollar brand while prioritizing sustainability and activism. Their profits are proof that doing good is not a tax, it's a competitive advantage. Airbnb, in its early days, struggled with regulatory pushback and trust issues. By investing heavily in trust and safety measures, identity verification, review systems, insurance guarantees, they transformed regulatory battles into credibility building opportunities. Facebook, however, shows the danger of neglecting ethics. Its growth first approach, without guardrails for privacy or content moderation, created scandals, eroded trust, and triggered global regulatory scrutiny. Their trajectory reminds us that fast growth without ethics is fragile. The key lesson across these examples is that ethics compound over time. Companies that embed ethics early attract talent, loyal customers, and patient investors. Companies that neglect them pay the price in reputational damage, user churn, and regulatory penalties. Doing good while growing fast is not idealism, it is competitive strategy. Ethics in startups are not optional, they are existential. Fast growth pressures founders to cut corners, but shortcuts destroy trust. Trust, in turn, is the foundation of competitive advantage, sustainable profit, and resilience. The major ethical challenges, privacy, labor, environment, and transparency, must be faced directly and turned into opportunities. Building ethics into culture requires defining values early, creating feedback loops, aligning incentives, and leading by example. Growth strategies must be mission driven, inclusive, responsible, and collaborative with regulators. The stories of Patagonia, Airbnb, and Facebook remind us that ethics determine long term outcomes. Companies that prioritize values build resilience, attract loyalty, and win sustainable growth. Those that don't eventually pay the price. The final takeaway is this: doing good while growing fast is not a luxury. It is the only way to build startups that endure. Ethics are not the enemy of growth, they are its greatest multiplier.